Hi, my name is Stephen Roach. I'm the Director of Employer Engagement at the Center for Career Opportunities. Today I'm going to be talking to you about resumes. Know that this presentation is not the definitive end-all be-all resume presentation, and there's a lot more information, a lot more help that we can render to you.
So first I wanted to just discuss a little bit about resume attributes that are commonly sought by employers. These are the things that employers are looking for on resumes when they're looking for a candidate or somebody that they'd like to sit down and interview. So you can see here at the bottom we've got things like problem solving, teamwork, work ethic, quantitative reasoning skills, and written communications. 91.2% of the respondents to this survey right here, the Job Outlook 2020 National Association of Colleges and Employers, 91.2% of those respondents said that they were looking for problem solving. Right. The next one here, teamwork, 86.3% said that they were looking for teamwork, with 80.4% saying that they were also looking for work ethic. Now just think about these three things together. They want to know that you can work and not have to be micromanaged, right? This is really kind of speaking to things like initiative. They also want to know that you can have that initiative and work with other people. And not just work with other people, but work with other people to solve a problem. And so if you think back about your previous experiences, things you've done at Purdue, things you've done at student organizations, you could probably think of at least one example that may not already be on your resume where you've demonstrated initiative, working with other people to solve a problem. The other skills that they're looking for include quantitative reasoning capabilities, right? 79.4% of the respondents wanted to know that you could utilize your quantitative skills in their work that is being completed for them. And then finally, with written communication, 77.5% really want to have strong written communication skills. They want to know that you can write effectively and convey information in that format. And if you think about why or how most of the communication is completed within an organization, like a business, right? Think about all the emails, think about the text messages, right? They want to know that you can convey that information clearly and concisely through writing. Next, we see the bullet formula, right? This is probably one of the most important pieces of information from the CCO handbook. In the current iteration of the handbook, the 2019-2020 version, you can find this on page 16. The newer version, the 2020-2021 version, will be available soon. I imagine it'll be pretty close in those pages, but when you look at this, it's really important for you to consider how you are wording your bullets in your resume. Right, that first part there really wants you to start out with a skill, right, and using a power verb to demonstrate that skill. There's a big long list of power verbs in the CCO handbook on the same page. The next part here would be identifiable task. It's thinking about what your task is that you completed for that bullet point and how you're talking about it. If you're talking to a very technical audience and you're very technical yourself, or that task was technical, right, then talk about that in a technical way. However, if you get too technical, you run the risk of making it too difficult to identify what that task actually is. So you do want balance there, and you want it to be identifiable to the audience that you're writing to. And the next part here would be purpose, method, or result. For purpose, you can see we've got a question here. Why did you do this thing? Right? You need to discuss purpose or method or result in every single one of your bullet points. And so we gave you these questions to help do that. The next part here with method, how did you do it? If you can answer how you did whatever it is you were doing, right, then you're showing that employer, that audience, that you could potentially do the same thing for them. That makes it easy for them to picture you in that role, which is exactly what you want. And then the final part here with result. What happened because of what you did? It's discussing how your actions changed something, right? And what I found here is if you can use numbers to display those results, that can actually be very powerful. So anytime you do anything like raise any money, or if it's a class project and there's some numerical result because of that, feel free to talk about it. Now, we're getting into formatting. And this page, I really wanted to just put together for you so that it was pretty easy to see at a glance. I've got it broken up into all these different sections. The first section up at the top is really just for your contact information, right? It's for your name. You want your name to be nice and big. You want your contact information to be easily seen and clear. This person here has 2 different addresses, and I get this question a lot from students. Do I need to have my campus address and my permanent address? My personal opinion on that is that pick whatever one you want, right? If you just want to have one, fine. If you want to have both, that's also okay. I have not really heard from an employer yet who has said, oh, their address was in this place, so we decided not to hire them. Right, so I wouldn't really worry about that too much. The next part here with the objective statement. Objective statements can be very useful in certain situations. If you're going to a career fair and you're in person and you're going to be handing out the same resume to a bunch of employers, I encourage you to really have a good, strong, concise objective statement, right? That can be extremely useful, especially as it can provide context to your audience later when they're looking back through those resumes. However, if you're sending your resume out to an employer and it's just going to a single employer, I really encourage you to include a cover letter every single time. And if you include that cover letter, you may not need to include an objective statement because you might discuss your objective in much more detail within that cover letter. The next part here is education. And you can see it's basically at the top, right? And right at the top would be the most recent education. Now this is a resume that's in reverse chronological order. And that means that you've got the most recent experiences first. And notice that there is just the time that you expect to be completing that degree. Not when you started, right? Just when you're completing that degree. If you've completed any other degrees at any other institutions, you do want to include that as well. You want the name of the institution, the location of the institution, and the full name of the degree. If you're getting a Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, then you're writing Bachelor's of Science in Computer Science, right? Not BS in CS, right? You want to make it clear and easy for your audience to understand. Do you need to include a concentration? Not necessarily, but you could if you wanted to. Right, study abroad experience, this can be a really good place for that type of experience as well. Sometimes I would encourage students to put it down here, especially if they can write some bullet points to discuss what they did while they were studying abroad. Now in the next part here we see experience. We see 2 different types of experience. We have work experience and we have leadership experience. These are very flexible subheaders. You can name these really anything. One of my favorites is relevant experience because it's so broad. And as you look through here, you might notice a couple of things. All of these experiences have more than a single bullet point, right? So you need about 2 to 5 bullet points for each experience to really make them impactful. You might also notice it's got the name of the business, right? The title, if that person had a title in that role, the physical location of that business or organization, and then the time period. And notice that the time period is pretty consistent, right? There's the month and the year. Month, year. You want to be consistent with that throughout your document. As we continue through this, you'll notice that that formatting is going to be the same through all of these. And so you do want to have that in there the same way. Another question that I'll get quite a bit is, okay, well, I'm only doing this during the summer. How do I write that out? Well, here's a good example. You can see they've got the month, so it would be August 2016, and then August 2017, and then August 2018. Right? You could do August through October 2016, 2017, 2018, kind of the same way. As we get through the formatting here, you'll also notice things like community engagement and extracurriculars, and they've just labeled that here as involvement. And this is a really great place for you to discuss your involvement. If you find that it's hard to fill this section with a lot of experience, then it's thinking about what you're doing in your involvement. This person was a 10-year 4-H member. They could probably write an entire resume about what they did in 4-H over those 10 years. So it's thinking about how these experiences have allowed you to demonstrate your skills, abilities, and experiences. Now the final section here would be skills and certifications. It's my opinion that when you're writing your resume, that you consider putting your skills section right after your education. And you want to maintain this section right here for those hard skills. Hard skills include things like spoken languages. They include things like your ability to use software or coding or lab methodologies. These are not soft skills. Soft skills are more social, right? You want to demonstrate those soft skills in your experiences within your document. Some things to not include: no pictures. Do not put a picture on your resume. There is no need to put a picture on your resume. If you are considering putting it on your resume, listen to me and do not put it on your resume. References. You don't need your references. That is a totally separate document that you would create. We actually have a version of that document available in the CCO handbook if you'd like to get some more information. And then personal information. You don't need things like sexual orientation, marital status, right? If you've got kids, if you don't have kids, that's just information that employers don't need to know about, right? And so you don't need to put it on your resume. And then the last and biggest point that I want to hit here is how long should your resume be? If you're an undergraduate student, a single page. That's it. No 2 pages, no front and back, just 1 page, right? So keep your resume to a single page. If you're a graduate student, you can have 2 pages, but highly consider having a single page. You want to make this easy for your audience to digest in a very short amount of time. Only a single page if you're thinking about 2 pages. And then finally, if you need more help, right? If you have more questions, here's some useful links. VMOC here at the top. You do want to make sure that you have vmoc.com/Purdue. It's an artificial intelligence and machine learning platform that can quickly analyze your resume and return some sound advice, not just on formatting, but also on content. The CCO handbook, my favorite resource, the easiest to use. It's available online. I've linked it here. Upkey would be another one. Upkey would be useful, especially if you're starting from zero. If you've never built a resume, Upkey can help you develop a resume from nothing. And then finally, CCO resume reviews. This fall, we'll still be offering that service to students virtually and potentially in person as well. And so we really encourage you to connect with these resources, get the help that you need, and be prepared for those fall recruitment events. Thank you so much.